Hi, this is Yvon Prehn, and I want to show you some time and money-saving tips for church communication production. Here are our challenges. If you don't want to spend lots of money on your illustrations, and I don't know any church that does, you know you can find free ones on the web. I have a number of videos that show you how to do this, and you know that you can modify them. However, this can take a lot of time. But at the same time, professional-looking, personalized, coordinated images make every church communication look better. So what's the answer to this dilemma? Here are my tips for communication production, and I think these will really help you a lot. These are the things that I do myself in ministry and that I found to be very, very useful. First of all, you want to think through upcoming seasonal or ministry events, whether it's a holiday, Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, or perhaps a special ministry emphasis, Back to Church Sunday, maybe one of the 40 days campaigns or other campaigns, a special teaching series. Whatever is coming up, create a folder for each one of these. And then, when time allows, search free sites such as the Microsoft site for images. Over here I have a thumbnail of another video that I've done for you that shows you how to find some of the different really great images that the Microsoft website has. They've just got some fantastic ones. They're all free, lots of variety. If you haven't been on that site, please take time to watch that little video because it'll give you some ideas that I think you'll find quite exciting. Now, the reason I say when time allows, images are one of the things that can take an extraordinary amount of time when you're in the middle of actually putting a communication piece together. So I recommend finding your images ahead of time. What I personally do is I look for them at night when we're sitting around watching television. I consider television kind of a big waste of time, but if I'm sitting there working on the computer, finding images, playing with ways to modify them, I feel like I'm using my time more effectively. So if you have a laptop that's linked up to the internet, you might try doing that. But if not, whenever you do it, download and organize your images into folders. Group them by the different topics and then experiment with modification. And that's what I'm going to be showing you in just a few minutes. You can do this very easily and once again for free. You'll find after you do that that you will come up with certain styles that you like. You might group your images by style. You might brainstorm approaches. Sometimes I found as I am working with the images, I come up with a theme for a particular ministry campaign. Now, what I'm going to demonstrate to you is how I made modifications with the images that I'm going to show you in just a minute. All of them came from the Microsoft website. All of them were free. I took this image and turned it into this example that you might use for, say, a Christmas boutique. I took this family photograph and turned it into two different styles of images for a family Bible reading program. I took this image and turned it into a flyer for Back to Church Sunday. And finally, this image, I simplified it for a very simple and inexpensive church bulletin. For each one of these, I used the same process. I used Paintnet. Please go to my YouTube site, youtube.com/Yvon Prehn. Let me just take a minute and quickly jump over to the site. Here I am on the youtube.com/Yvon Prehn website. And down here and to the right are playlists. This is where I have grouped videos into different topics that you can watch a number of them that have all been done on the same topic. If you scroll down, you'll find here is a series of videos on Paint.net. Let me click on this. And you can see here I have a video on how to download it. I have one on the basics of it. Then I have different things that I have done with the program. Do take time to watch this. I think you'll find it very helpful. It's an extraordinary program, as you'll see in just a minute. One more thing, here we are back at the start of my video channel, and I can't encourage you enough to click on this subscribe button. I am uploading more and more videos to this channel all the time, And the best way to be notified as soon as something's put up there is to subscribe. Once you have Paint.net, you go through the same process for all of the different images. It really goes very, very quickly. I will go through it a little bit more slowly so that you can see what I do, but I use pretty much the same process for all the images. I open up the image, and then my most used commands are adjustments, and then posterize. I'll be demonstrating this for you, but I wanted to have a list for you to be able to go back to this. Another favorite combination is effects, then artistic, and then ink sketch, adjustments, and then hue and saturation. Sometimes I will do some color replacement, but with these simple steps, they're the only ones that I do. That's how I came up with all of the modifications. I'm going to demonstrate the editing only. I'm not really going to go into Microsoft Publisher except for the last one. I have lots of other videos on that, but let me show you how quickly and easily I made the image modifications. First of all, on the one for the holiday boutique, this is where I took this image, turned it into this, and then into the flyer. Here we are on Paint.net. Let's open up our image, and here we have our image. All it took to make the modifications was to go up to Adjustments and Posterize. I'm going to move the slider over here, and I'm going to move this little tab all the way down to the end. So the value is at 2. Click OK. Now I'm going to go back to Adjustments and click Black and White. Now here I have a black and white image, and what I can do now is I can color different sections the colors I want them to be. To do this, we go over to this little box over here on colors, and I want to use that pretty rose color. So I make sure that this is the color that's in the little box, and then I can go up to the little paint bucket here, click on it, and then when I bring it over to my picture, anything that I click on, I can then make that color. And here I can fill in the ribbon. I won't take time to do more of them, but you can see just with a few clicks of the mouse, I have turned it into a totally different looking image that will actually work out much better for printing over it and for the flyer that I want for the Christmas boutique. Next, let's look at the family Bible reading picture. Here we started out with this image, and I made 2 variations. I made this one and this one. Let me show you how I did them. Here we open up this image, and now we're first going to do a slightly different command where we go up under Effects, Artistic, and then Ink Sketch. Isn't that just the coolest thing? I love this program. So simple. And then now I'm going to actually move the slider down a little bit. I find that I kind of like to get rid of some of the lines with the ink sketch, and I'm also going to lighten up the color just a little bit. And that's all there is to that. And there you have this wonderful image. For the second one, let's start over again. This one we're going to do Adjustments and then Posterize. Now for this one, I'm actually going to increase it to level 4. Now I don't particularly care for the colors in this, so I'm going to click OK and then go back to Adjustments and hit Black and White. And that's all there is for that. And I have the second variation of the image. You see, it took less than a minute to take it from a very nice picture to some really stylized images. This one you could use if you have a color printer. This one, if you had a digital duplicator or you wanted to use spot color. Just because you can't print something in full color doesn't mean you can't have images that have impact. Our next one, let's look at the Back to Church flyer. Okay, for this one, let's start out again by doing the ink sketch. And on this one, we'll just click OK. But on this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the colors because I just don't like those other colors very much. So I'm going to just kind of play around with it. And when you come up with the color combination that you want, just click OK on that. And then finally, we created a very simple bulletin. Sometimes we don't want to make an image more complex. We want to simplify it, and that's what I did here. I liked this image a lot. I love the image of butterflies because I think they symbolize transformation and new life, and I thought it would be a wonderful thing for a church bulletin. So let me show you how I modified this image. Here we have our image of butterflies, and what I did on this one, once again, ink sketch. And now for this one, I'm actually going to increase where it came in on the outline. It keeps the settings that you had previously, so sometimes you kind of have to go back and forth to make them what you want them to be. I'm going to click OK, and then I'm actually going to click black and white so that when I put it into Microsoft Publisher, that I can modify the colors from there. Let me actually go into Publisher for this one. Here we have our image. Now here we have our church bulletin, and I will have a copy of this on the website for you, and there will be a link to it. This is one of the most wonderful ways, I think, of explaining what's going on in a church service. It's very simple, it's very, but we want to dress it up a little bit. But let's just say that this is a small church, don't have a lot of money. They're using a digital duplicator to save money. They have some spot color. So we take this image, and I've actually already flipped it around. This is what it looked like originally. Flipped it. And now we just move it into our bulletin here and click on it and click Format Picture, Automatic, Recolor. Let's make it red. This way it would be very simple to print it with a digital duplicator, or you could even, once again, simply have it in black and white, print it on perhaps colored paper, and you would have a very simple but attractive and inexpensive church bulletin cover. In summary, you can create wonderful personalized images for all of your church communications, whether you want to make them more complex, whether you want to make them have more contrast, whether you want to have an area where people can read text, whatever you want to do with them, you can do it very, very simply in ways that are appropriate for any budget or printing method, whether you're printing in full color, spot color, on an inkjet printer, on a full color printer, sending it out to the web. And you can do all this modification for free with free images and the wonderful free Paint.net. The Microsoft site, again, has many, many images for you, and Paint.net is my favorite program to do all kinds of image modifications. I just went over some very simple ones. I'll be doing other videos, and there are other ones on the YouTube channel that go into more detail. But just with those very simple things I showed you, you can make many changes. So experiment, be creative, and pray for wisdom to use the perfect image to touch hearts, clarify the message, and change lives. For lots more training in church communications on all kinds of topics related to it, please go to effectivechurchcom.com, and may the Lord give you joy and peace and strength as you serve Him today in church communications.